on Discord? All right. Hey, YouTube. We're having a little audio problem on Discord. Everyone else can hear. Excellent. All right. Let me get TikTok set up. Oh, the Hat of Joy. I think the Hat of Joy is pretty fun, actually. All right. Anyway, how are we doing, YouTube? Hello. 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 Battling Sasha for sticks. I know. Yes, I got a little delayed setting this up, and then Discord did what it does where it tries to update itself, but it won't let me go live until it updates. So it like updates and then it shuts down, and then it does another update and shuts down, and you're sitting here going, oh my God, I'm already 4 minutes late. So then I'm 8 minutes late. Anyway, welcome guys. Give me a second here. I'm just setting up TikTok. All right, there we go. All right, TikTok is ready to go. All right, starting TikTok. All righty, here we go. We are good. TikTok, mirror, boom, and boom. We are set. Everything is set. Hello, all. Happy Monday, everybody. Crazy news day. Thank you, Jorge. Thank you, Carol. Hey, TikTokers. Welcome, everybody. I got started a little late today, but, you know, it happens. It happens, but we're good. Oh, good. And Annie can hear us now. That's good, too. Oh, Amanda, too. Interesting. So Discord was being evil. Anyway, hey, TikTok. Yeah, a number of folks on Discord couldn't hear. Maybe type a little note in the comments, Amanda or somebody, that if anybody can't hear, they should leave and come back, or close Discord and come back or something. Anyway, hey, Gemma in the UK. Welcome, guys. Welcome, Pedro. Montenegro. That's interesting. We don't see a lot of you guys over here. Good to see you, V. Welcome all. A lot happening. Yeah, we're going to start talking about Los Angeles today. Kind of a mess. Kind of a little bit of a fog of war, I would say, though, in terms of trying to find out what the hell's going on in LA. A little bit as an outsider, but nonetheless, we are going to start talking about Los Angeles because it's kind of a mess, unfortunately. But and you'll get one of my unvarnished opinions that some of you aren't going to like. But you know, we come here for the truth. We don't come here for pablum. I will not give you I certainly won't give you the MAGA view, and I won't always give you the liberal view either. So we will talk. Thank you, Terry. Thank you, Super Hornet. But yeah, so all is good. We had a big Pride weekend in DC. It was World Pride, which a lot of us aren't really familiar with what that is. But nonetheless, it was very busy and very fun, and the weather cooperated shockingly, which is very surprising. Shelly, you're in Laramie. I didn't realize that. Wow. Hey, cool. Anyway, so welcome, guys. So I'm John Aravosis. This is my show. Hello, TikTok, Discord, YouTube. We do this Monday to Friday, 6 o'clock Eastern. I talk about the latest news from Ukraine, from the U.S. We start with American news, and then we move on to Ukraine, the war in Ukraine, because that's kind of how my show started 3+ years ago. But let's get jumping right away. I do this for a living. I always hit you guys up for gifts because I always forget to ask. But I do this for a living, so your gifts help pay the bills. So thank you for that. So here's the deal. Trump has just ordered the U.S. Marines to oh, lovely. Trump has just ordered the U.S. Marines to Los Angeles. That's kind of creepy. We don't do that in America. We don't deploy the military domestically. There's a host of laws against it. It's just incredibly creepy. Was it necessary? No. What is going on is there's some protests against Trump's immigration raids, and some of the protests turned violent. So Trump used it as an opportunity to militarize it, basically. I've did a video on TikTok. I haven't looked at the comments yet. I'm sure people will be pissed at me on both sides. But what's going on here is, one, Trump is trying to militarize the conflict for his own personal reasons. He thinks, A, Americans will love him using the military. They just might. They might, but they might. I mean, politically, this may work for Trump. B, Trump is trying to basically overrule Democratic states and using the military to do it. He doesn't like how the Democratic states are enforcing or not enforcing his draconian goals on immigration, and trying to use the military to force them. It's very scary. It's very scary in the concept of, or in the context of what Trump is doing overall. He's not exactly a Democrat, and I mean that small d, as we say in Washington. When we say small d, we mean democracy. I don't think he's a huge fan of democracy. It's a little scary. He, in the past, has been prone to embracing violence. He famously asked his chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff during his first administration, he asked General Milley, General Milley confirmed this, but he asked General Milley, he said, we've got all these peaceful protesters outside the White House every day. I'm getting tired of them. Can't you just shoot them? And Milley looked at him and said, no, Mr. President, we can't shoot peaceful protesters. And Trump's response was, well, and Carol just said it on TikTok, well, can't we just shoot them in the legs? Like that would be okay to shoot a peaceful protester in the leg. That's the background of where this is coming from. Or as Jake Tapper just said on CNN, the Trump people are basically what Trump is arguing. I'm trying to there's so many angles to come at this story. We're talking about Trump sending the Marines to Los Angeles. The problem is Trump does not tell the truth. That's the first problem. Trump does not believe in democracy. Second problem, Trump believes in using the military to attack civilians. He already said that during his first term against peaceful protesters outside the White House. He said this to General Milley, the chair of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, who confirmed it, that Trump asked him why he couldn't just shoot the protesters in the legs. Peaceful protesters. And Milley said, because we don't do that in America. So that's the first problem. Second problem, the protesters are not America's best and brightest people. Some of them are violent. It's not good. A lot of them are peaceful. Some of them are violent. And there's been a significant amount of violence in Los Angeles. Not smart. They closed down the freeway. I think closing down the freeway is obnoxious. It's not violent. It's not call in the military. It's obnoxious, but don't call in the military. But what did they do? Then some protesters got on top of the walkway over the freeway and started throwing concrete blocks onto police cars and people. Okay, now you got a problem, right? They've lit several cars on fire. That's a problem. This is sort of and this is where it gets complicated. Is the situation in Los Angeles so out of control that the U.S. military needs to be called in? No, it's not out of control at all. Are there protests against Trump's immigration raids? Yes. Are some of the protests inappropriately violent? Oh, yes, absolutely. And I will not defend violence in this case, not at all. Zero chance of defending violence at all. And by the way, mods, just block that person anyway. We can't tell what they're saying, but I'm sure it's something bad or they wouldn't hide it. Just block it. But the protests aren't out of control. Some of the protesters are out of control. Some of these protesters need to go to jail a very long time. You don't use violence in this case. You just don't. I mean, seriously, I'm sorry, but especially this, of all the stuff Trump has done, you're turning violent over the fact that he's arresting people who are here illegally. You may not like it, but his administration, the thing is, Trump's immigration policies are obnoxious in many ways. But again, this isn't the issue to fight him on, because as I said, most Americans agree with Trump on immigration. And immigration is the one issue he's got the most support, because people tend not to like people that are here illegally. I mean, it's when you come, it's in politics, you often win. I mean, I've worked in politics for 40 years. You often win when you've got the simplest argument. And on immigration, the simplest argument is the people are here illegally. They shouldn't be here. I mean, that is a very good argument. You may not agree, and that's fine. But in terms of convincing the American people overall, it's a good argument. Trump wants to take it and use it to militarize. This is part of his larger agenda to militarize the company, to militarize the country, to militarize the government. That's scary. And again, I'll come back to the main point here. He's trying to claim that California is out of control. It's dangerous. It's not out of control. The governor's got it under control. The Los Angeles Police Department has not said they're having any problems. They've arrested a number of people this weekend, like 200 people or something they've arrested. Thank you, Adventurers, for the gift. Right? They've arrested 200 people. My point is, it's not out of control. I think we would all agree that whether or not you like using the military, right, or the National Guard, Trump also nationalized the National Guard. Thank you, Adventurers. Thank you, Jeremy. Whether or not you like that, I think we can all agree that if you're going to have the federal government use the National Guard, and if you're especially going to have the federal government use the Marines to come into a state to go after protesters, it better be an over-the-top situation. It better be a clear-cut danger to all of America, right, that you need to send in the Marines. You don't send in the U.S. Marines unless it's this kind of a problem. A couple dozen violent people in Los Angeles are not a threat to the nation. They're not a threat to Los Angeles even. They're obnoxious. If the police say they can't handle it, then you deal with the National Guard. If the National Guard says they can't handle it, then maybe you deal with the Marines, right? But this is my problem with all of this. And that's why I say my general premise here, the protesters, I think, are idiots. A lot of them are idiots. I'm sorry. And by the way, too, a lot of them are walking around with like Mexican flags and Guatemalan flags. Really helpful if you're trying to convince the American people to be on your side. Wave American flags. How's that for a crazy idea? How's that for a crazy idea? Again, I do like, politics and stuff for a living. Wouldn't you love to see people who are here illegally waving American flags? I'd love them to be saying, I've been here 20 years. I'm an American, right? I believe in America. I believe in America. I'm here because I love America. That's the freaking message. The message isn't I'm really Guatemalan, literally Guatemalan and Mexican flags. And I'm going, oh God, don't. And while the car is on fire, that was one video I saw. The car's on fire and they're waving a Mexican flag. And I was like, oh my God, this is not helpful. And by the way, that's again why Trump is doing it, because Trump knows the optics of it, the look of it benefits him. He's got people waving Mexican flags, setting cars on fire. It's a perfect opportunity for him to go, oh my God, I told you, right? Trump claims falsely that it's an insurrection, it's a rebellion. The immigrants, remember, he called it an invasion. He called it falsely that the immigrants were invading us, right? Well, now you've got cars on fire and they're waving foreign flags. Right? Now, final point, Robert just raised this, but somebody else raised it earlier. Diversion. Keep in mind, Donald Trump is the king of diversions. Trump loves to basically do something crazy and outrageous when he's trying to divert from something else. Last week was the Elon Musk disaster, right? Elon leaves and Donald Trump and Elon, by the way, not just Donald Trump and Elon get into a massive fight, publicly, horrific fight. Elon calls for Donald Trump to be impeached, but Elon accused Donald Trump of basically being a child sex offender. Not a child, but right, you get it, doing bad things to kids. I mean, really wild stuff. If you're Trump, you're trying to change the news. And Trump, I guarantee you, Trump did not like that accusation from Elon especially. He did not like that accusation. I think Trump was desperate to change the story. So this story, nationalizing the National Guard and sending them to California to stop pro-immigrant protests, sending in the Marines, it accomplishes multiple goals. It lets Trump start to, again, militarize our government, militarize civilian government. And again, it's like the frog boiling in the water. He gets away with this. He gets away with something else. He starts to slowly use more and more military to, again, take over civilian roles in government. That's very dangerous. But at the same time, politically, looks good for him. People don't like people here illegally. I mean, basically, the violence, perfect. The violent protesters in Los Angeles are handing this issue to Trump. Just handing it to them. Because again, too, think about this too. They're committing acts of violence, some of these people, right? And you sit there and go, even if you're somebody who might justify violence at some point against government or something, I don't know. Let's just say, let's pretend you are. Immigration arrests, right? Immigration arrests are not exactly a compelling story to me as to why you felt the need to turn violent and set cars on fire, right? People that were here illegally. I think it's obnoxious what Trump is doing, right? I think he's going after, for example, initially they always talked about going after the criminal people who are here illegally, who are criminals, right? That I can see, right? But he promised that's not what he's doing. He's going after the innocent people, the people who have been here 20 years, the people who are working, have families, right? That's not top of the list of who you should be going after. But do you turn violent in response to that? No, right? This is not what you do. This is not what you do. Thank you, Tarad. Thank you, Louisa. So yeah, I mean, but as I said, I worry that if Trump wants to militarize the government, he's picked the perfect issue to do it, because immigration is the number one issue that works for him in the polls. And B, he's got a bunch of crazy people in Los Angeles violently protesting, which is stupid as all get out, right? Yeah, they're not all violent. Doesn't matter. People see the burning cars on TV. Not good. Not good at all. So that just hands the issue to him, because most Americans aren't going to look and say, well, the protesters have been very violent and that's scary, but maybe they will. Maybe. I mean, it's possible that I underestimate the American people. I don't think I do. But maybe the American people won't like him calling. My guess is calling up the military will still make voters in the middle go, MAGA people will like it. I think voters in the middle will go, I don't know. Like, I don't like the violence. I'm not sure about the military. Again, unless it's totally necessary, right? No, I already said MAGA people will love it. But I think voters in the middle who you're going after will kind of be gray and say, okay, is this necessary? Right? That kind of thing. Any case, it's a freaking mess, guys. I'm trying to like look here at all the, he has not invoked the Insurrection Act yet, which is interesting. Trump was asked today, is this an insurrection? He said, no, not yet. So he's kind of gone halfway there. Now, having said that, one analysis was that Trump has not yet invoked the Insurrection Act, because he's a little bit afraid he can't prove it yet, right? But he's hoping is one analysis that the protesters turn violent against the Marines, right? And then if they turn violent against the Marines, then he says, because think about it, if they were to attack the Marines, think about this. I didn't think about this until right now. Donald Trump sends in, and estimates are between 500 and 700 Marines that he sent to Los Angeles. These same protesters attacking the police, and they have been, let's say they attack the Marines. Let's say they throw concrete or whatever the hell they're throwing at the police, they throw at the Marines. They've now attacked a U.S. Marine. They've now turned violent on a U.S. Marine. You've attacked the U.S. military. Is that rebellion if you're an American citizen who violently attacks the U.S. military? Right? I mean, you get what he's getting at? I mean, it makes it right, because sort of the whole notion of the U.S. military, an American citizen who turns violent against a U.S. soldier on duty, is per se anti the U.S. government. You get it? It's a very tricky, again, public relations wise, right? Image wise, it allows him to go, well, this is an insurrection. That the definition of insurrection, Trump would argue, is when you violently try to assault members of our military doing their job. Yeah. Anyway, it's a mess. It's a mess. I think the protesters are idiots. I've said before. That doesn't mean that Trump should basically try to use the U.S. military domestically, which is a violation of federal law and also incredibly creepy on a fascist level, an authoritarian level. But it does mean that it gives Trump a real opportunity to do so. Protests are still going on. Yep, Priv, still going on. Well, the thing is, there's a lot of protests going on, and then there's a violent faction. For example, they shut down one of the main freeways in Los Angeles today. The peaceful protesters peacefully shut down the freeway. As I said, I think shutting down the freeway is obnoxious, but it's peaceful, right? So what are you going to do? You arrest them, whatever. It's not insurrection shutting down the freeway. But then you had the violent protesters who got on the walkway over the freeway, and they started throwing chunks of cement at the cars, chunks of cement at the police cars and the police, right? So all of a sudden you had a peaceful protest on the ground, and then you had a violent protest taking away the same protest, which was a bad idea, as Robert just said. Yeah, very dangerous idea. Now the other thing Barbara just raised, and it's a good point, and CNN mentioned this too, as the Trump people, and the Trump people are all, we believe in law enforcement. Trump said, nobody should spit on a law enforcement officer or you're going to get hit hard, right? Right? You're going to get hit hard. As Jake Tapper pointed out on CNN today, Donald Trump, these same people just a couple months ago, Donald Trump pardoned 1,500 domestic terrorists who tried to violently overthrow our government on January 6th, right? They literally tried. It was literally an insurrection. It was literally violent. They literally tried to overthrow our government. They tried to stop the peaceful transition of power. They tried to stop the seating of an American president. They tried to thwart the electoral will of the American people. They literally tried to overthrow an election. Thank you, Bowie. Right? And Donald Trump did that. And Donald Trump didn't just do that, but Donald Trump forgave them. Donald Trump didn't just forgive them. He pardoned them. He said, because think about this with a pardon too. He said, your crime doesn't exist. When you pardon somebody, you literally wipe the crime away. So there was no crime. You're not forgiven. There's no crime if you wipe the way with a pardon, right? So let's keep that in mind. January 6th was clearly an insurrection. It's not debatable. They tried to violently overthrow the government. It's not debatable. Their stated goal was to kill the vice president. It's not debatable. Their stated goal was to stop. By the way, just to remind folks, because some of you may not be familiar with the complicated, way our elections are very complicated. What January 6th was about, in the U.S. Constitution, January 6th is the day that the Congress gets together and it certifies the election. It's the day for the president to become president. You have the election in November, and then this complicated process happens in the states, and the states sort of provide all of their votes to the Washington. And then on January 6th, Congress gets together and goes through state by state and said, okay, Florida reports this many votes for Trump or whatever, right? Electoral votes. And then they certify each state, and then they count it and they certify the winner. These guys on January 6th were literally trying to stop Congress from choosing the next president, from certifying the election. The goal was to overthrow our election. The goal was to overthrow Joe Biden. That is per se the definition of an insurrection, per se. Except Donald Trump was okay with that. Stephen Miller was okay with that. All the supporters of Trump that are upset about LA are and literally Trump literally said they're spitting on police officers. Now, first of all, don't spit on a police officer. I think that's gross and I think it's obnoxious. And you should go to jail if you spit on a police officer. But Trump suggested spitting on a police officer was like rebellion trying to overthrow the government. But the actual people who did try to overthrow our government on January 6th got pardons from Trump. So again, none of this, my point is, none of this is about the issue at hand. None of this is about immigration even. It's about Donald Trump doing, and here's the other thing too. Donald Trump does performative government. Donald Trump doesn't actually accomplish stuff, as we know from the tariffs, right? Taco, right? Trump got the nickname Taco from Wall Street. Trump always caves on everything, TACO. Because on the tariffs, Trump, made a big, I'm going to put 150% tariff, and then he took everything away because that's what Trump does. Remember the first time around, his first presidency, Trump had two big issues. Muslim ban, he was going to ban Muslims from coming to the U.S., and he was going to build a wall. Remember, one of Trump's two big things he got elected to do the first time, build a wall. Guess what he didn't do the first time? He didn't build a wall. Thank you, Annie. He didn't build a wall. Thank you, Jen. Trump built about 53 miles of wall. That's it. Google it. 53 miles. We needed several thousand miles of wall between the U.S. and Mexico if we were trying to stop illegal immigration. He built 53 miles. That was his number one issue, guys. Now, Democrats, of course, don't talk about it, right? I mean, this is my fault. This is my problem with Democrats, right? Democrats should be talking about that every day. This is the guy who said he was going to build a wall and he built 53 miles. He didn't do anything. But this is what Trump does. Trump talks a big talk, but he doesn't actually do anything. But he knows, again, this Los Angeles thing, Trump is very good at performances, right? He gets on stage, and everything he does is to be on stage. It's to look good. That's why he does all these executive orders. Most of them don't accomplish anything, but they look good. Oh, Trump signed an executive order about air travel. Oh, Trump signed an executive order about immigration. Oh my God, right? Thank you, Jen. But it's not really, thank you, Ash. Oh, sorry for Ash. Thank you, Ash, for blocking somebody. Thank you. Right? It's not really meant to accomplish anything, but it's not meant to accomplish anything of substance. What Trump is doing won't matter in Los Angeles. The police have it under control. And if the California National Guard need to get involved, they've got it under control, right? Thank you, Flower Lady. But it looks good to his people. Right? Trump acted strongly. There was a threat to democracy and there was violence in an American city, and Trump went in and he crushed it. I mean, you may not like that. Trump voters will love it, and I fear some voters in the middle might like it too. The problem is, here's the problem. Lone Star says the police don't have it under control. Define it, right? I mean, so there's 20 people being violent in one neighborhood. Okay. Right? I mean, the police aren't saying, oh my God, we can't handle 20 people, right? They've arrested several hundred people. Thank you. Thank you, Kim. That's what I'm saying. It's the Trump people aren't telling the truth on this. There's no riots going on yet. There has been some violence. They burned 5 cars. That's obnoxious. They should go to jail. but 5 cars, right? I mean, and this because Jake Tapper was talking about this on CNN. He goes, but they burned 5 cars. And I was listening, I'm going, Jake, burning 5 cars in a city of 10 million people is a horrific thing to do. It is not an insurrection. It is not violence out of control. It's obnoxious, and they should go to jail. And if they're literally burning every car going through the city, then there is a problem, right? But burning 5 cars is not out of control. It's obnoxious, and you should go to jail, right? And it's violent, and you should go to jail. But it's not out of control. And the point is, if you're going to claim it's out of control, if you're going to claim that we need to call in, the military, then you better prove it's out of control, and you better prove it's huge. And currently, it's not. Yeah, they burned. Oh, it was the 5 Waymos. Yeah, which is not a good thing. They burned these. California apparently has these Google cars that I think they do deliveries or something, and they set 5 of them on fire, which is very bad. I mean, I think it's. I will also say, by the way, for the Europeans out there, maybe other foreigners too, but especially I was telling Kellen about this earlier. We don't do violent protests in America. This is something else I think that again I'm going to put my air conditioning on. I did, but now I'm getting a little hot again. Violent protests are not the norm in America. I, at least when I was living in France, found that they seem to be at least a little more typical in France, certainly. It is not unusual at all to have protests turn violent, set tires on fire. The truckers, every time the truckers in France go on strike, they set trucks on fire and stuff. We don't do that here. As Hutchison just said, you've got to go all the way back to the 1960s, 60 years ago. You got to go back 60 years to find protests like that. We don't do that. Thank you, Annie. So the notion of these people throwing like concrete off of freeways onto cars and stuff, setting cars on fire, we don't do that here. I mean, that's also part of the reason the insurrection was the Republican insurrection on January 6th was such a big deal. We don't do that. BLM, but BLM's a good point too. During the Black Lives Matter protest, there was a faction that was violent. That was really scary. Again, hey, you're not going to find me defending these folks. There was absolutely a violent faction. There was across cities across America, they were shutting down cities and shutting down towns because they were afraid of the BLM protesters, because a number of them were violent as hell, and it was very scary, right? The reason it was so scary, because we don't do that in America. That is unusual to do those kind of protests. That is, again, why what's happening in Los Angeles is really stupid on behalf of the pro-immigration protesters or the anti-Trump protesters, whatever you want to call them, or anti-ICE, whatever it is. Because turning violent in this country in protest is not like France, where you go, oh yeah, they're turning violent, that's bad. It's, oh my God, they're turning violent. We don't do that here. Yeah, Republicans do it during the insurrection. Black Lives Matter did it in 2000 during their protests, unfortunately. And by the way, a number of people excused it back then, right? I mean, I was fighting with people who excused it, right? When people loot, which we get occasionally in Los Angeles and other places, they loot and they go into stores and just rip off all the stores, and people defend it. So you've got that. Again, I don't defend it on either side. Thank you, Denon. Anyway, it may be becoming more common. Charlottesville, good point too. Actually, Chris makes a good point. Charlottesville, where MAGA protesters, really pro-Trump. It was a pro-Trump crowd, but it was a fascist neo-Enzi crowd. And they drove a car into a crowd and killed a young woman. And Trump, that was when Trump defended them. Remember when Trump said, oh, there's good people on both sides. And he was talking about the neo-Enzis and the peaceful protesters. And he said there were good people on both sides. And it was like, no, they're not. They're really not. They're really not. Anyway, very scary stuff. Before we move on to the other news, we can talk about this a little bit more since we got a good crowd here, and then we'll move on to Ukraine. What else, guys, or about this? Anybody got a pithy, interesting comment? I don't know. We got a lot of trolls, but I'm not surprised that, big surprise we got trolls coming on this topic. Again, not a fan of the January 6th insurrection when Trump tried to violently overthrow the government and his supporters did it. Not a fan of immigration protesters turning violent in LA, although the immigration protesters in LA are not trying to overthrow the government. They're not out of control yet. There's a couple dozen of them. I still think they're horrible, but there's a couple dozen of them, and they're not trying to overthrow the government, and they're not even close to overthrowing the government. The Trump protesters, the Trump insurrectionists, got this close to catching the vice president of the United States, who they said were going to kill. I think that's a little different. It is a little different, in fact. But again, as I said, I'm not going to defend the protesters on this. Anyway, what else we got? I mean, we can keep talking about this, like I said, but whatever. What else, guys? What else? Your facts are lies. Okay, that wasn't quite English, but that's okay. Anyway, what else, guys? Now, the fun part, I will say, for the mods on TikTok right now is we can't tell if people are pissed off because they're on the left or the right, which I always do kind of enjoy that. Actually, yeah, the Australian reporter thing was pretty wild. Liz just mentioned there's video of an Australian reporter, and I mean, she's clearly a reporter, this blonde woman, she's in the street reporting, and you see a gunman, a National Guardsman, I guess, pick up his gun, point it at her, and shoot. Now, it was rubber bullets, but shoots and knocks her down. Horrific. Jay says, are you against peaceful protesters too? Nope. I think I said that about 1,000 times, Jay. I said the peaceful guys were fine. Like the peaceful guys shut down the highway, and then these idiots on the overpass decided to throw chunks of cement at the police cars, which was really dangerous and really stupid. So now you got your answer. I think I've said that repeatedly during the show. But thank you for paying to ask that. Or no, you didn't pay, but you still Patriot Launcher. Thank you for that. Anyway. Yeah, we're not talking about Israel. I love these people. Israel. Let's talk about, this reminds me of the Palestinians. Sure it does. This reminds me of people trying to steal an issue for themselves is what it reminds me of. We're talking about Los Angeles and martial law in America. How is Greta? Yeah, no idea. Don't care because that's not what we're talking about. So, anyway. Anyway. Well, I don't support the protesters anyway, personally. That's a different question. We've talked about this. I don't think people should be in this country illegally. I am no fan of that. You don't call out the U.S. Marines to go after them, right? You don't go after people who have been here 20 years and are doing nothing wrong when you've got actual criminals you can go after, right? Violent criminals. So I've already said that multiple times. Everybody knows my position on that. But you don't freaking call out the Marines to go after, a bunch of protesters when most of them are peaceful, and the ones who are violent, they're violent, but the police can handle it, right? You call them out when the police can't handle it. I mean, Trump goes, the police can't handle it. Where's the proof of that? There's no proof the police can't handle it. There's no proof of that. Yeah. And yeah, the military was called up sometimes before. It was the National Guard when we had true threats of violence. By the way, 1992, it was the Republican governor in Los Angeles. It was the Republican governor and the Democratic mayor who asked the president to get involved and to bring troops. So you had the Democratic mayor and the Republican governor, right? So that's perfect. The local government, Democrats and Republicans, got together and said, we can't handle this situation. Government, come help us. That's when the government should get involved, right? But Donald Trump, come on. We all know you can't trust Donald Trump on this stuff. Come on. I mean, right? Come on. Oh, that's right. And Trump, why did he say it though? Thank you, Dylan. Trump is talking about arresting the governor of California. Why did he, I missed it. I saw that last night, Gavin Newsom, the Democratic governor, basically said, go ahead and try to arrest me. Trump was asked about it today and said, yeah, we should arrest him. What I did not see was why. Hold on. Why was Donald Trump talking about arresting the Democratic governor of California over the immigration protests? That's the thing I didn't see. What? No, but I'm asking specifically. This is a specific question. So let's see what the answer is. My guess would be Trump is saying he's not going after the protesters and therefore he's breaking the law or some craziness like that is my guess. Let's see here. Come on. Tom Homan, a Trump-appointed border czar, publicly warned that any official, including the California governor, who interfered with federal ICE enforcement actions could face arrest. Okay. And then when asked if Newsom could be arrested, Trump replied, "I would do it. I think it's great. Gavin likes the publicity, but I think it would be a great thing." Again, this is where you get the fascist thing. This is where you get the truth about what Trump is doing. This isn't about immigration. This isn't about violence. It isn't about rebellion, that's for sure. It's about Trump on a basically vendetta. He wants to arrest Democrats. That's all he wants to do. He wants to arrest the Democratic, just like he went after the Democratic mayor of Newark and threatened to arrest Democratic members of Congress. He wants to arrest Democrats because they're Democrats, because that's what you do in authoritarian countries. But I'm trying to see, like, what exactly are they even claiming? He suggested officials, the borders are, if they obstructed, but this is the if. This is the if. I'm not seeing, yeah. So there doesn't seem to be any suggestion that they did. There's no suggestion here that they did. Yeah. So it was a stupid comment. It was a stupid comment. It was a stupid comment. There's no suggestion that the governor of California didn't enforce the law or interfered with the immigration actions. Yeah, that's ridiculous. Yeah, his crime is he's a Democratic governor. That's his crime. Yeah, exactly. No, and Newsom did. Newsom, to his credit, said, "Go for it. Try to arrest me." Yeah, he's right. I mean, Newsom wants to be president someday. A good way to do it. He's right. Have Donald Trump just arrest him for being a Democrat for no reason. Because the problem for Trump, the danger for America is Trump is going to keep doing more and more and more and more. Anything he can get away with, he's going to do. The problem for Trump is I think, is so self-inflated right now with his own self-worth, and not self-worth, but that he can get away with anything, that he's going to try anything. And at some point, he's going to go too far and it's going to blow up in his face. It could be arresting the governor. I don't know. It could be killing protesters. I don't know. But I think he's going to do something that goes too far, and that's going to finally cause a backlash. But how far do things have to get before Trump goes too far? Or I should say, before the public thinks Trump went too far, right? Especially in a way that's significant enough. That's the scary part, And it may not blow up in his face soon, Karina. That's my fear too, Yeah. He did fall up the steps. Yes, Chris. Donald Trump was getting on a plane this weekend and he tripped and fell up the steps of the plane. And a lot of people were noting, if Joe Biden did that, it would be the national story of he's not competent, he's old. Trump did it, and the media was like, "Oh, it's okay. Men trip," right? So, Anyway, what else? We will talk about Ukraine in a second, but again, since we got enough people talking about this stuff, we can talk a little bit longer. They did arrest a labor leader. He was just released. He was charged with a crime, but they just released him. So that was news. Zerpache, I don't know. It says, what kind of backlash would change things? Again, I have to be careful of what I say here because we're on TikTok, YouTube less so, but TikTok. But I feel like Trump would have to open fire on peaceful protesters, and a lot of people get, bye-bye. For the American people to go, holy crap, right? I fear that that's how bad things would have to, that's how bad he would have to do something for people to finally go, okay, this is not acceptable. I don't mean you and me, but I mean the regular Americans go, okay, he's gone too far, right? And they flip out, and they flip out other members of Congress, and all of a sudden, you see members of Congress flipping out on Donald Trump. I fear that's what would have to happen, like Penn State, for example, right? Anyway. What else, guys? As I said, we will go to Ukraine in a second, but why not? All right. Be nice, everybody on YouTube. Jay had a question. Jay disagrees with me at the underlying premise, and that's fine. But, but I'm fine for people. I don't like the protesters, but of course they have the right to protest. Peaceful protesters have the right to protest. You arrest them for misdemeanors, but you don't send the Marines after them. No. Correct. Kent State. What did I say? I don't know. Did I say Ohio State? Did I say Ohio State? Yeah, Kent State. Exactly, 4 dead in Ohio. No, this was the 1960s. when the National Guard opened fire on students at, did I say Penn? Oh, I said Penn State. Oh, I'm sorry. Kent State. In my head, I'm hearing Kent and Penn. No. Nothing. This was back in the 1960s or 70. Was it 69 or 71? Or I'm forgetting the exact year. Somebody here will know. 1970, David? May 4th, 1970. There you go, Taylor. So anyway, all right. I think we're going to switch to Ukraine in a second here. Yeah, exactly. I made my point. Yeah, let's switch to Ukraine. Let's switch to Ukraine and we'll come back. All right, Ukraine, it is day 1,201. There isn't a ton of Ukraine news anyway, but we'll talk and then we'll come back to this. Russia hit Ukraine overnight with massive airstrikes with nearly 500 drones and missile fired. Ukraine says they took a lot of them down. Now, what's interesting is I was watching some Sky News stuff on this, and they were saying the problem is Ukraine is able to basically divert a lot of the drones. They interfere with the guidance systems. The problem is the drones still have bombs on them. So even if the guidance systems get diverted, the drones end up not going where the Russians wanted them to go. But the drones still land and explode, and they hit homes, they hit apartment buildings, right? They hit town squares. So they still cause a lot of damage and kill a lot of people. That's the problem with the drones. So even when you hear the Ukrainians stopped most of the drones, stopping them is a relative term, right? They still come down and they can still hurt people. Ukraine said it struck an airbase and a drone warehouse 800 miles into Russia. Ukrainian special forces claim they've damaged 2 fighter jets during a raid on an airfield deep inside Russia. That's good. Poland and its allies scrambled jets after attacks were recorded in western Ukraine near the Polish border. Prisoner exchange began with Russia. Finally, they had agreed when they were in Turkey to have it was 1,000 prisoners or something exchange, and things got kind of delayed. The Russians were dragging their feet, and finally, a first big exchange happened today, which is good. Russia. This was interesting. Mark Rutte, who's the NATO Secretary General, relatively new, former Prime Minister, I guess, of the Netherlands. He said that Russia makes a year's worth of NATO ammunition in 3 months. I don't know why he said NATO ammunition. I think he mean a year's worth. Bottom line is they're able to make a year's worth of ammunition in just 3 months. So, a year's worth of NATO ammunition in 3 months. Oh, okay. I think this is kind of weird English. I think what he means is the amount of ammunition that we make in a year, the Russians can make in 3 months, so that they can build up their forces and they can rebuild. But also, if we go to war with them, we got to be careful because they can really, right? They can grow fast. Canada says it is going to hit the NATO spending target this year, which is good. That means, as you know, NATO countries back in the about 20 years ago promised to spend at least 2% of their economy on defense. Thank you, Gio. Basically, their defense budget would be equal to or greater to 2% of their economy overall. Canada had not hit the goal. It says it will hit the goal this year. That's great news. Orban had a very weird. Viktor Orban is the prime minister? Yes, of Hungary. Very bad man. Pro-Putin, anti-NATO, anti-everybody, anti-Europe. And he said, which is weird today, he said, Russia is not even capable of defeating Ukraine. The Russians are too weak for that. So, and therefore we shouldn't be worried about them attacking NATO because they can't even beat Ukraine. I never know what to think of comments like this because it's an interesting comment. It's kind of an anti-Russian comment, right? Saying they can't even beat Ukraine. You're afraid of them coming after us. But it's also kind of a pro-Russian comment because you're saying it trying to get people to let their guard down against the Russians. You're saying it in order to help the Russians build up without being countered, right? Without standing up to them. So it's kind of a weird, but it's a weird thing. I mean, it's for him because he's super pro-Putin. He's super pro-Russian. He's a Putin sycophant. To me, Orban is like the Eastern European leaders, post World War II. Thank you, Bowie, for the gifts. He's a sycophant. He works for Russia. So it's kind of weird that he said that. But in the end, but again, being Orban, he's still helping Russia because he's saying, you don't want to go after them. You don't want to build up the military and go after Putin. You don't want to do more sanctions. they can't hurt a fly. That is something a fifth columnist would say. Basically, somebody secretly working for the enemy would say, you don't need to worry about them, right? So maybe that's what's going on with him. It's a little weird. Anyway, all right, that's the news today. Let's hang and talk. We'll do another 15 minutes or so. I think because this weekend my voice was being, every time I strain the voice a little, it does get a little scratchy. Anyway. What else? So yes, crazy news in Los Angeles. Trump is sending the Marines pretty much without legal justification, but also without actual justification. Los Angeles is not out of control. There are some violent protests. It's obnoxious. They should go to jail. A lot of them are going to jail. You don't call in the U.S. military unless things are out of control, unless the local police say, oh my God, we can't handle it, unless the National Guard says, oh my God, we can't handle it. Nobody has said that. Donald Trump has said it. And the problem too is, let's face it, Donald Trump, we're really going to believe Donald Trump when he says something's necessary, when he says things are out of control. Donald Trump, isn't really used to telling the truth very often. I saw that. Terry Moran, ABC News journalist, is being suspended for basically calling Stephen Miller and Donald Trump out on their hate. And he's right. I mean, Stephen Miller is generally motivated by hate, as is Donald Trump. So much of Donald Trump does is motivated by vengeance. Terry Moran, one of the top journalists at ABC News, said this about Donald Trump and Stephen Miller, and they suspended him at ABC. Now, we should remind you that ABC News and they're one of the biggest news outlets in America. They're the news outlet that bribed Donald Trump, that gave him a $15 million bribe. Remember, Trump sued George Stephanopoulos, one of their broadcasters, and it was a stupid lawsuit. Don't think he would have won. And ABC, in order to make it go away, but of course make Trump go away, ABC said, how about we pay you 45? I think it was 15, but let me see. Let's see. I'm not sure what you're talking. I want to get the number right, but there's no way it was 45. I don't think so. ABC News payoff Trump. Let's see. 15 million. I was right. Thank you. Don't know what you're talking about. 15 million. But they agreed to pay him 15 million. And of course, what actually happened was, right? Hey, Donald Trump, how would you feel? I'm ABC News. How would you feel if I gave you $15 million? Would that make you happy? Would that make you leave me alone for a while? And Trump said, yeah, I'd love $15 million. They paid the president of the United States $15 million for a lawsuit that they could have won. I mean, and they aren't the only ones who have done that. Very scary stuff. Paramount is talking about doing it too. Very scary stuff. Thank you, Maeve. Keep the gifts coming, guys. I do this for a living, so please keep the gifts coming. The military parade, I'm not, I like military parades. I'm not sure I like this one. And I'm not sure I don't really want to be a body that shows up and Trump can say, look how many people showed up. So I really haven't decided what to do about next weekend. Thank you, Heather. Thank you, Maluda. Thank you, Chezek. Next weekend is Trump's big wargasm military parade he's doing. And I don't know. Here in DC, I'm just not sure. Not sure I want to go. So I don't know. I don't know. I literally don't know. So now what I might do, I wanted to make those t-shirts of Donald Trump as a taco. I may do a Taco Trump t-shirt and go. That could be good. That would be quite funny to wear my Taco Trump t-shirt. That would be actually very funny. So that could work. That could work. So, and in Washington, I mean, 90% of Washington is Democrats. Now, maybe for this parade, you'd get other people. I still think most of the parade would be Democrats. I think. So we'll see. I may go. I mean, I like military stuff. I may go check it out just because I went to the parade after the first Gulf War. That was the good one. That was the legitimate Gulf War that we won and actually saved the world and saved Kuwait and saved Saudi Arabia. Totally legitimate war. And George Bush had the first George Bush, the father, had a military parade. It was very nice. I actually found my photos from it the other day, which was not the other day, today. I was looking through some photos for a photo that I couldn't find. but then found that photo, which was interesting. So your husband was in that Gulf War. That's interesting. Hopefully he didn't come away with any of the nasty Gulf War syndrome stuff. But yes, tanks rolling down the Washington D.C. streets, a little creepy because Trump wants it because it's what France does on Bastille Day, and it's what the Russians do. That's the problem. Thank you, Maluda. That's the problem. Thank you, Brenda, as well for the gifts. Thank you, guys. So yeah, we'll see. All right, we got another few minutes here. Oh man. Ooh, la, 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 la. Your husband has Gulf War syndrome? Ugh. Sorry. Thank you, Kali. Taco Fell? Oh, Taco Fell like Taco Bell. Actually, that could be a nice t-shirt too. I do like Taco Bell. The one I did of Taco Bell that was I had ChatGPT do one of Donald Trump with let me find this. With I told it make a dress, do Donald Trump but make him wearing make him look like a Southern Belle, and make his dress be make his dress be a taco. Oh, I think I didn't. Yikes! Hold on a second. Where is this? Oh, come on. Shoot. I hate this. I didn't. Well, now I'm going to look back. I did not do I didn't favorite it, which was not good. Let me look here. I have a ton of pictures. I told you I've been using ChatGPT to catalog all the stuff I own that, if I die someday, if someday in 50 years, people will know what my stuff is and decide if they want to keep it or not, because I have a lot of cool stuff I bought in Alaska and other places. And I've been using ChatGPT to write up the summaries, and it's been really fun because you learn stuff about, if it's correct, but you learn stuff about the stuff you have. And at the same time, this way, at least people will eventually have, they'll know what the pieces are, which is nice. Where are you, Taco Bell? Oh, here we go. Got it. Now, this was ChatGPT. I said, do Donald Trump as a Southern Belle, Gone with the Wind style, right? 1860s or 1850s or whatever, maybe 1850s. And I said, give him a dress made of tacos. So he's a Taco Bell. And it did this, which I thought was pretty amazing. With only those directions, even the frowning face, I think, is brilliant for you guys. It's a good job. So this could be a t-shirt too. I haven't decided, but it might be. I do like the fact that it makes Trump a woman, which is kind of fun. Now, I should have done this for Pride this weekend. I totally forgot. I was going to do a Trump t-shirt for Pride and I didn't, but it's pretty good. So we'll see. I did get I've got my X-Acto knife. I did get the cutting board. So I will at some point be making the transfers. I may make a couple t-shirts. I've got to decide if I'm doing black or white. I don't know. I haven't decided which t-shirts to do yet. Because black I like, but I can't wear black in sunny weather. You know what I mean? Which is annoying. But I like black t-shirts because they're fun. So I haven't quite show it again. All right. So I haven't quite decided what to do about that. What color? I guess I could always make multiple color t-shirts, I guess, but that's the design. Pretty good. I just said do Trump as a Southern Belle wearing a dress and make the dress tacos. And that's all I said. It did a really good job. It's pretty cool. Yeah. ChatGPT is pretty amazing. It really is. It really is pretty amazing. So anyway, a couple more minutes and then we'll go. Gray t-shirt. I don't wear gray. I've got black and white t-shirts. The thing is, I like my black t-shirts a lot. Black can be difficult though. If it's sunny out, I won't wear black. You know what I mean? I could wear white t-shirt in the summer. Maybe that could work. That could definitely work. We'll see. I don't know. I haven't decided yet. We'll see. Well, I could do both. Exactly. I could do some t-shirts black and some white. And that way, right? That way I've got them. Beige. I don't have beige. I've got black and white. I told you I buy my Costco t-shirts because they're great t-shirts. They're undershirts that are t-shirts and they fit perfectly. They're great quality. I've never found anything like them. So that's what I buy now. Yep. The military parade is this coming weekend. That is correct. Correct. Where do they transfer the mic to Ukraine? The Patriots or what? Oh, to Ukraine. Oh, Mike says Israel has transferred Patriot air defense systems, which were previously in service with the Israeli army, to Ukraine, according to the Israeli ambassador to Ukraine. Number of transferred systems is not specified. That's good because Israel was refusing for years to do that. So that's actually good. The yellow dress would pop on black. Now, that's true. On black, this would be much better. Now, I would cut the background, so it would just be the Trump in the dress, but this on black would be pretty. On white, it would be okay, right? The parade, I don't know if it's parade probably is Saturday. I mean, it shouldn't be Sunday because of church, but knowing Trump, you know, who knows? Now for baby Trump, I mean, it would be okay on white. Again, both of these would probably be really good on black because of the yellow, right? But it would work on white. It would work on white, actually. Baby Trump is a little darker too. I mean, this one's great. Like I said, I totally forgot I was going to make it for this weekend for Pride, and I forgot. So, but yeah, I need to make them this week. I actually should add that to my, hey Siri. Oh, hey Siri. No, it can't do it because I'm broadcast. Oh, I can do it on here. Hang on. Add white t-shirts to my Costco list. There we go. They're added. All right. Oh, Darren. Darren's upset that 1,500 domestic terrorists tried to overthrow the American government in an insurrection, and Donald Trump pardoned them. I know. I'm sure that I understand why that upsets you, Darren. It upsets all good Americans. So, thanks for weighing in. Anyway, so next Monday, I'm gonna probably skip the show. I'm having my trigger finger surgery. Is it next Monday or in two Mondays? 9? Is it next Monday or 2 weeks? I think it's next Monday, which is really annoying because I'm not looking forward to having this procedure. Oh, 2 weeks. Oh, never mind. 2 weeks. Never mind. So yes, 2 weeks. I've got to get a procedure on my finger for trigger finger. It's annoying. It's like not a big deal, but they still have to cut you, and it takes a while to heal. And I'm not thrilled. So, but that's not. I thought it was next week. 2 weeks. We'll worry about it when we get closer. I could do Donald Trump in the dress with a black border around it. Yes. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Oh God, don't tell me that, QT. I mean, I don't really have a choice because it's getting worse and worse. So hopefully it's okay. But hair is being crazy. Nope, trigger finger, not carpal tunnel. So beep, 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 beep. What else? Oh, thank you. Oh, look at that. That's a very cool gift, CC. I don't think I ever realized that one had a whole getup. Oh, that was neat. Thank you for that. Wow. Yours resolved. Mine did not resolve. Mine's been, it's been on and off for 10 years. This time the shots didn't help. It's been probably a year and a half, maybe. And it's still maybe even a year and 3/4. And it's just getting worse. That was very cool. Thank you, CC. I don't know if I've seen, I may have seen that one before, but I never noticed it had all the neck bangles or whatever you call it, bling. Thank you, Linka. Very cool. Are protests planned in DC against ICE? I don't know. Oh, that's not good, QT. Yeah. I don't think I really have a choice. I've had this problem for over a year and a half. So that sucks though. Itchy? No, it's not itchy, like an itchy finger, Queen. Is that the idea? Anyway, all right, we're about to call this quits, guys. So again, trying to protect my voice. Although my voice is, I think, again, this weekend bar. This was yesterday because we went to a bar yesterday, trying to talk in the bar. I've got to like avoid stuff like that because once again, it made my voice scratchy again. I think I need to give the voice more of a. I mean, it was getting a rest, and then the bar bothered it again. You know what? That and we were at the Pride Parade, which was loud. It was too loud, and I was trying to talk over it. Shoot. I was at this weekend. I didn't even think of it. This weekend was bad for the voice. I totally didn't think about it. Yeah, it's a little hoarse, but it shouldn't be hoarse. That's the problem. It was the weekend of not doing my podcast. So yes, that's what I thought. That's what I understood, Queen. Yeah, I can try the warm salt water. I'll try the salt water right now just to try it. Alexa, lower the temperature 1 degree. It's a little cold, a little warm in here too. 73. That's a little colder than it needs to be, but we'll see. Anyway, all right, guys, I'm going to get going. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for the gifts. Thank you for hanging out. We'll be back tomorrow night, 7 o'clock, 6 o'clock Eastern time, US. Yep, I'll do the salt water. I'll try it, Robert, next. And thank you, Kind-Hearted, as well for suggesting it. But yeah, thank you, guys. We'll see you all tomorrow, 6 o'clock Eastern, the usual. And that's about it. Thanks, mods. Thanks for the gifts, guys. Thank you, Gothic. Last minute gift. All right, Discord, let's start with you. Jeffrey, Doug, and Manda. 1 second, guys. Boom. All right. There we go. Discord. All right. Discord and end. Bye-bye. All right. YouTube. All right. Bye, YouTube. 20% chance of rain for the parade. Woo-woo. All right. Bye, YouTube. That's funny. All right. TikTok.